terms of numbers and all that other stuff, that'll be about 5 or 6 or 7 shows, and then I'll be out.
Yes.
And then the price you're going to see like $199, $299. I mean, it could just go crazy.
Yes,
it could go absolutely, positively insane. Now, you'll notice here this says 2017, but they released today the 2018s.
Okay.
So we've pre-ordered. Okay. So I'm going to have an edition. Now notice the edition on the 18 is lesser. I've only got 1,879 of these on the first day of issue, and I'm literally selling it on the first day of issue.
On the first day.
This will be in the prime, and these are already going quite. These are going quite quickly in their own right. So once again, see the price, $149.95.
Yes.
The original issue price.
Yes.
Just like the last one was the original issue price. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. Now, folks, I'm anticipating 2018, we have no idea what the mintage is going to be. 2017, I know. I can categorically, undeniably, unequivocally state that the 2017 SatinFinish American Silver Eagle is by far the single rarest regular issue American Silver Eagle ever made by the United States government, that last coin. I cannot categorically state that this, I may be by next year, because what has happened, some of these coin sales have fallen off a bit. The last time this happened was kind of in the 90s. And if you look at the real rarity in American Silver Eagles, the stuff that is just stupid expensive. 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, just before the state quarters. And if I would sell you those 5 Silver Eagles in Mint State 70, that would be probably $50,000, okay?
Wow.
These coins are rarer than any of those coins in Mint State.
Goodness.
And those 5 coins would be a minimum $50,000 for that coin. This coin will be rarer than that. The 2017 absolutely was rarer than that. You take a look at those same proof Silver Eagles from there in proof 70, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. You're looking at $3,000 or $4,000. We're in that period, folks. We're in that little swing right now.
And we know it.
And we know it.
What gives us that opportunity
because I was selling those coins on television in 1995. So I come not only with the ability to look back through literature, but I have literally personal experience from selling those coins and making those coins available. And so what happens is some of the most overlooked coins in the entire American Silver Eagle series are the SatinFinish American Silver Eagles. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And of the SatinFinish, the 2017, the last coin that we sold is the rarest. The SatinFinish are the rarest. So it's exactly, literally the rarest of the rare, the 17. The 18 is literally being released today.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, we have 1,879 of these. Now there's already quite the wait in the phone room. I've already sold 30. With everybody on the phone, I've sold probably almost 100. Understand, I have 1,879. I have 1,300 less than last year, and last year's edition is in the process of selling out at 3,100 coins. The 2018, I mean, for all I know, given the popularity that I'm seeing right now, tonight we'll have a primetime show. Could sell out tonight. This could last one day.
Wow. First day.
Yeah, because what happened, and I'm literally selling the first day of issue on the first day of issue, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of the way the show fell, which I think is abundantly and phenomenally and crazily cool that we're doing that. But please keep in mind, if you're buying it, even if you own that 2017, you owe it to yourself, your kids, your grandkids, as a collector, to get another of the 2017. I am giving you information that comes from my 30, 40 years of experience. Okay. I spoke to one of the giants in the industry yesterday, who's he likes to remain nameless, and so, but anybody in the coin business knows him. And he was like, "This is a very exciting time." I mean, he's been in the business for like even longer than me. He's been selling coins for about 55 years now. Okay, he sold some of the great American rarities. A dear friend of mine, and he said, "This is getting to be exciting." We're getting to be in that swing like we were in the 90s,
yes.
okay? In that mid-90s when people weren't buying that many coins necessarily. So we end up with those 2-coin army sets that should sell 50 or 75 or 100,000 pairs, and there's like 10,000 pairs available. The Mint sold them out 3 months ago. They shipped them yesterday. They doubled in price.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, they doubled in price from the time the Mint shipped until somebody opened them up at their house. Is ultimately what happened, and we have those coins. So I have the 2070. Here's the brand new issue of 2018. I know it says 2017 on it because they're just releasing them today. But I bought a lot of these coins. I mean, I bought almost as many of these as I did in 2017. So we spent a lot of money on American Silver Eagles. In the last 2 weeks, I've spent $2.5 million on American Silver Eagles.
Wow.
Because now is the time.
Yes.
Okay, see, now is the time.
Well, this is...
And that's the key.
Yes, this is when you say, have you ever said, if I knew then what I know now? Back in 1995, if you knew then what you know now, you would have done things a lot differently in 1995.
Right.
And this is an example of that. It doesn't come along very often that we get to, you know, we kind of can see what's coming and we can be in it on the ground floor. And that's what this is, and that's particularly what the 2017 is, as long as we still have them. So you don't have to say, well, if I knew then what I know now. Mike is telling us right now.
You know it now,
Yes.
okay? So you have what amounts to advanced information, particularly on the 2017, the last coin I was selling, okay? But the 2018, do not overlook this coin in any way, shape, or form, folks. If there's any coin that has a chance in the next decade or 15 years to unseat the 2017 as the rarest eagle, because that's a definitive.
Yes.
It could be this coin. Now, like I said, I have no crystal ball. I don't know that.
Right.
But the 2017, we know the mintage of that. I know that the 2017 burnished eagle, the SatinFinish eagle, is the rarest regular issue silver eagle ever done by the United States government. I know that I will be selling that coin for more than $149.95, probably within the next 30 to 60 days.
Yes.
Okay? And probably substantially more than that.
Yeah.
This one, this is $149 till I sell 1,800 coins. I mean, is ultimately what that comes down to, 1,879 coins.
Okay.
Okay, this is our regular issue price. By the way, and I get so excited I sometimes forget, folks, every one of them comes with a $14.95 red oak presentation box. I mean, we sell hundreds, if not thousands of these empty, because nobody else does that.
Yeah, that's
Nobody else does that, folks.
That's right.
So fantastic, fantastic opportunity for you right there. I love this. Get the 2018, but if we can, and Allison, I don't know, can we give them one last look at the 2017? Is that possible?
That item